Commissioners, welcome to the June 3rd, 2026 meeting of the Clark County Charter Review Commission. Thank you for being here. Would you please join me in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Joe, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ottaguame,
Present.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Present.
Commissioner LeBrandt. Oh, he's online. I see you. Sorry. I just want to make sure I move him over. There he is. Okay. Commissioner LeBrandt.
Here.
Thank you. Chair Erickson,
Here.
Secretary Garber,
Here.
Commissioner Hamlick,
Here.
and Commissioner Chrisley is absent this evening. Commissioner Landisberg,
Here.
Commissioner Jay,
Here.
Commissioner Klein,
Here.
Commissioner Gasquet,
Here.
Commissioner Holmgren,
Here.
Commissioner Benton,
Here.
Commissioner Haas is not here, and Commissioner Silliman.
Present.
Thank you. And we have two absent. Oh, two absent.
Okay, with 13 present, we do have a quorum. Under our current bylaws, any votes taken today would be approved with 7 affirmative votes. Next, move to approval of our agenda. There is one change to make. Item number 7, comments by County Councilor Michelle Belcott. Councilor Belcott let us know today that she was unable to attend. There are no other proposed revisions to the agenda. Are there any other proposed revisions by the body? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved. Benton.
Second, Klein.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amended agenda. Are there any opposed? Seeing none, the amended agenda is approved. Next, move to open public comment. Michelle, do we have members of the public signed up for comment?
We do. We have one in the room and we have so far 2 online.
Okay. I'll first make these remarks. The Clark County Charter Review Commission welcomes and encourages public comment. Public comment provides an opportunity for members of the community to share input with the Charter Review Commission. Comments should focus on issues relevant to the Commission's responsibilities. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes. The microphone will be automatically turned off once the time limit is reached. The Commission will listen to comments, but will not engage in discussion during the public comment period. During public comment, speakers are asked to keep remarks respectful and focused on Commission business. Remarks concerning private activities or beliefs of others, individual county employees or elected officials, or matters unrelated to the work of the Commission fall outside the purpose of public comment. Disruptive, uncivil, or defamatory conduct is not permitted. Thank you for taking the time to participate in this process.
So first we have Jennifer Wendell.
My name is Jennifer Wendell. I'm from District 4. I'm here to speak in support of Amendment 2615 on ethics. Corruption is the most pressing issue of our time. A recent poll showed that 9 out of 10 voters view corruption as a big problem in our government, and this holds across party lines. It's one issue where partisans of all stripes and even independents can all agree. More importantly, they tend to take a very broad view of corruption. Americans take issue not only with political candidates bowing down to donors or regressive tax systems, but they also see corruption when officials spend taxpayer money frivolously to pursue pet projects, or when electeds speak for their own interests or that of a minority and not the majority that elected them into office. And if you think voters here aren't ready to take a big swing on ethics, I think you're mistaken. Shoring up accountability in our local government is top of mind for many voters that I've spoken to, and it's the first step toward ensuring that our representatives are prepared for the challenges facing the county in the coming years. The public deserves a comprehensive ethics commission that establishes guardrails with teeth.
Thank you.
Caller, you've been sent a request to unmute. Please go ahead and do so. State your name for the record and go ahead with your comment. Caller, I've sent you another request to unmute.
Hello, my name's Bradley Branham. I'm district number 5. I want to fully agree with what Ms. Wynn did and highlight that with an exclamation point. And then as to 2607, on a warm sunny day, as I was driving north on 50th Avenue, I saw the recently completed concrete monstrosity built into the verdant and lush woods of Mount Vista. After crossing State Route 502 into Duluth, I passed a very capable equestrian riding a Bay Morgan horse on the road in the opposing lane. This observation and the fact that my property is on an unincorporated territory caught between the expanding boundaries of Battleground and Richfield UGAs gave me the motivation I needed to try to understand this proposed amendment. To understand how this amendment has evolved, I compared and contrasted the documents presented in the second reading with those included in the committee report. In addition, I also incorporated all publicly available information related to Whatcom Proposition 12. In my analysis, the evolution of 2607 is striking. In the second reading, the vagueness and dense language appeared to reflect legislative text influenced more by a building industry lobbyist than by competent legal review. In contrast, the current language in the packet shows that 2607 has developed into a structural measurement intended both as governance planning tool and as a procedural safeguard. By comparison, Whatcom Proposition 12 represents a more ideological and polarizing policy approach, one that is more susceptible to lobbying pressures and administrative friction. Clark County's proposed amendment 2607 is narrower, more technocratic, less polarizing, which in turn reduces the likelihood of political conflict and policy weaponization. Based on the language presented in the packet, I support Amendment 2607. However, I strongly believe that the concerns raised by former Councilor Lentz and Ms. Catan should be carefully considered before placement on the ballot. I thank you guys very much for everything you're doing, and I'm very impressed with all that you have done. That's all I got.
Thank you.
We have one more caller. Caller, you've been sent a request to unmute. Please go ahead and do so. State your name for the record and go ahead with your comment.
Good evening, Kimberly Goheen Elbin. Well, what a breath of fresh constitutional air it is to watch this commission actually get to work and start doing the people's business the way it should be in a constitutional republic. Thank you very much for your service. Under new business A1, I'm all for limitations on consecutive terms for county council members. I think we should also have the, and just add this, and I don't know if it's your business, but have the Clark County manager position be put to a vote of the people. It's a very important position, and it's hard to hold them, her accountable, or he, and I think the people should be able to vote on that. For A2 on ethics, I was really excited and in support of this presentation and resolutions. I consider this a good, thorough spring cleaning. I've been to some of the ethics meetings and was shocked that there were only 3 ethics members. At a few meetings, there was only 2. And I think I remember one where there was only 1. So I think they called it off. But I found it pretty one-sided, and it definitely wasn't a constitutional side. I think 5 to 7 ethics members will be a better moral and truthful means to regain trust to the Ethics Commission. So I commend you on that. Also, I don't know if it's your business to do, but we need to keep a lookout on the new business coming up that's news now, that there's some members of the Clark County Council that did not take the Public Meetings Act seriously, and a few other things that they've done. So I feel refreshed. I feel like my patriot duty that I believe I have is coming to pass, and I'm really happy. So thank you very much, and God bless each one of you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commission, we have one more caller that's raised their hand. Caller, you've been sent a request to unmute. Please go ahead and do so. State your name for the record and go ahead with your comment.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is Robbie Anderson, and I just wanted to give a comment about the ethics charter amendment that's going to be coming up. And I wholeheartedly agree that we need desperate ethics commission reform. I've put forth 3, I believe, complaints, and the main issue that I found that really I'm hoping the Charter Commission can address, and unfortunately I don't think this amendment addresses at all, and that is the desperate need for due process. It's kind of jaw-dropping that there is no due process allowed to people who have filed a complaint or people who have had a complaint filed against them. And my complaint that I brought before the Clark County Superior Court, Judge Vanderwood was also appalled and gave about a 20-minute question and answer, kind of a lecture to the Clark County attorney, asking why there's no due process. And just a few months after the case, I had no standing because there's no due process. So, but he made his comments very clear that he had trouble with this process, this problem. And unfortunately, this ethics charter amendment that's before you tonight does not resolve it. In fact, I believe it goes too far. So I would not be in support of this. I would ask that the charter review kind of go back to the drawing board on it. I do think that there's significant reforms that are needed, but due process has to be one of those. In fact, just a side note, Judge Vanderwood probably instituted or instigated where all the judicial members were removed from Ethics Commission review a few months after my case because he had a real problem with what he saw. So thank you for the effort, Commissioner Dorothy, on this, and Commissioner, I know Kim Hamlick's got one that's moving forward. I just really encourage that we just need due process, and that will fix a lot of the charter review problems. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Once again, we appreciate the members of the public taking their time to participate in our process. Commissioners will next seek for approval of our minutes from the May 27th, 2026 meeting. Are there any proposed revisions to those minutes? Commissioner Donnelly, please.
Motion to approve the minutes, Donnelly.
Is there a second?
Second, Landisberg.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes in their current form. Are there any opposed? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. We'll next move on to executive committee reports. And I'll ask Secretary Garber to begin, and she will also be covering for Vice Chair Haas.
Thank you. First, I'll talk about the contract that has been signed by our Scrivener, Kyla Bond, and I'm doing this on behalf of Commissioner Haas. It was signed either today or yesterday, and we are moving forward on it. Michelle is working to set Kyla up as a vendor, so we're getting ready to go to start providing her the information. We have a folder ready to give her with 5 amendments to begin, and we're on track with that. So the next item is that I've been working with Michelle and Rebecca for a notice of public hearing. I provided them kind of a template to start with, or a draft. They've reviewed it where it's, getting refined, and our goal is to have it go out the day after the meeting on the 10th. So it will be reflective of all the proposed amendments so far. And the scope of work that I'm kind of jumping around here, but the scope of work for Kyla has been being worked on by the drafting committee also, and we will be able to provide that to her as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you. I have 2 topics. First, commissioners, there's been a slow, steady increase in the number of abstentions that have been taken in some of our recent votes. Last week, we had, for example, 1 vote where there were 3 abstentions. Every member of this body does have a right to abstain. But I also want to read from Robert's Rules of Order. It says that the duty of every member every member has a duty to vote who has an opinion on a question. So this comment should not be taken to suggest that abstentions are inappropriate. Every member has that right, but we are here to vote, and abstentions should be rare. Next, we want to talk about our practice of inviting elected officials to come and speak with us. We've yet to hear from county councilors Will Fuentes and Michelle Belcott. They were scheduled and have rescheduled. We have since received a request from Sue Marshall to speak to us a second time. And before we schedule that, we wanted to bring it back to the body to see what everyone's thoughts are about allowing a second opportunity to come and speak. So we'll open it up for discussion before we go to a motion. Commissioner Landsberg, please.
Since Councilor Marshall is the chair of the body, I think she should have another say. And we also never talked about whether Matt Little was going to come to us or if he totally declined the invitation.
Michelle, can you speak to Councilor Little's status?
Counselor Little is going to be traveling a lot to DC. He came back just even this week and came back for council meetings, and he is out again starting tomorrow. So he's not here next week. A lot of his work on the other place takes part in DC. So he's doing a lot of traveling. He hasn't been able to commit to a specific Wednesday because of his work schedule.
Commissioner Holmgren, please.
I think we should appreciate any elected official who would like to come and share their opinions. I do think that if someone is coming for a second time, we might offer less than 15 minutes, maybe a 10-minute window rather than a 15-minute one, just given the fact that they've already been given an extended period of time to speak with us.
Commissioner Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that once somebody's spoken in their official capacity, that we invited them to speak in, if they want to come back and offer other comments, I think that open public comment would be an appropriate time as a citizen of Clark County to come and speak to us.
Secretary Garber, please.
I think anytime an elected official wants to communicate with us and give us feedback, I think it only helps us. And I think that if she would like to take her time to come down here and speak with us, we should allow her.
Commissioner Klein?
Thank you, Chair. My strong preference would be to try to get the other folks that didn't make it, that didn't come because it didn't fit their schedule or they were ill. I would like to see them cycled in first before Sue Marshall is given another opportunity. I think that the second round should go to the back of the line.
Commissioner Donnelly, please.
I would like to suggest with regard to Commissioner or Council Member Little that we give him the option of either calling in from a remote location or just sending us a document saying what he might be concerned about so that we get his ideas in any form that he is able to give. And then I would also say, and the same for Council Member Belcott, if she would like to call in some night, that would be fine. Or send us, if it works better, to send us a document saying what her concerns would be or information she would have. And with regard to Chair Marshall, I believe that we would welcome any thoughts she would have, and I think she should have 15 minutes or whatever. Thank you.
Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Chair. I'm always very open to hearing any elected's feedback or ideas on any of our currently considered amendments. So I would encourage them so we can get the most value out of their responses, that they come with prepared remarks that are a little bit more constructive, a little bit more general, I suppose. Sometimes when these guest speakers come, from electeds come, they just say, I hate this one, I like this one, I hate this one, I like this one, I hate this one, I like this one. And I don't necessarily find those to be entirely informative of what the work that we're doing. So I have had a lot of value when elected executives come in and they share with us how their office works. I've gotten a tremendous amount of value of learning more about the county there. So if Sue Marshall or anyone else wants to come, always should be welcome, but just if we can encourage them to be more constructive in their criticism or to come with fresh ideas of what we can also look at. Thank you.
Any other comments? I'll offer a comment on my own side. I believe we have, after today, we have the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, and July 1st. I would suggest that it's probably not appropriate to have comments on July 8th when we're going to be making our final votes. So that would leave 4 potential dates open. We've yet to hear from 3 counselors, Matt Little, Will Fuentes, Michelle Belcott. So if we were to hear from all 3 of them, plus Sue Marshall, that would fill each date. And I agree that opportunity should be given to those first who have not yet heard, we've not yet heard from. So personally, I'd be open to letting Sue Marshall come back, but not at the expense of accommodating the availability of the 3 we've not yet heard from.
I can say that currently Councilor Fuentes is scheduled for the 10th and Councilor Belcott did reschedule to July 1st. So, and they will be in person with comments. I have made that.
Okay, would it be possible then to reach out to Matt Little, offer him one of the remaining 2 dates?
Definitely.
Give him the first opportunity.
Mhm.
And then if this body approves, then Sue Marshall could be offered that remaining date.
Yes, I can definitely do that.
Commissioners, is there a motion to this effect?
I'd like to make a motion to allow Chair Marshall to take one of the 2 remaining spots to come and speak with us.
Donnelly, second.
It's been moved and seconded to allow Chair Marshall to come and speak with us again, working around the availability of the other counselors. Is there any further discussion? Are there any opposed? Commissioner Benton, you're opposed? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Michelle, would you please call the roll? Commissioners, an affirmative vote would allow Sue Marshall to come and speak to us a second time, working around the availability of the other counselors.
Commissioner Ottaguami,
Abstain.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Aye.
Commissioner LeBrandt,
Aye.
Chair Erickson,
Aye.
Secretary Garber,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamlick,
Aye.
Commissioner Landisberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Klein,
Aye.
Commissioner Gasquet,
Aye.
Commissioner Holmgren,
Aye.
Commissioner Benton,
No.
and Commissioner Silliman.
No.
Okay, so we have 2 nays and 1 abstain. We have a majority.
Okay. With more than 7 affirmative votes, the motion carries. Michelle, would you please reach out to both Counselor Young and Chair Marshall to schedule them, please?
And correction, that's Little.
Counselor Little, schedule him first and then offer the remaining date to Chair Marshall. Okay, Commissioners, we'll move on to committee reports. We'll begin. Commissioner Benton, did you have a comment?
Question. We didn't specifically address what Commissioner Jay said, but are we going to offer any instruction as far as, hey, we're looking for more kind of constructive rather than lobbying for policy? If you come for a second.
Well, the motion that just passed and when they need constraints on how they would spend that time.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, we will move on in our agenda. The next topics are committee reports. We'll begin with the Public Outreach Committee. Commissioner Holmgren, please.
Thank you. We do have 2 town halls coming up this weekend. The first is on Saturday, the 6th at Camas Public Library from 3 to 5 p.m. That's District 4. And then on Sunday, 2 to 4, 1 to 3, 1 to 3 at the Battleground Event Center. So we're encouraging the public to attend. If you have questions about what's going on for those town halls, please reach out. I will send out an update to the commissioners who are planning to be there with the checklist and the presentation and those things probably early tomorrow. We sent out another newsletter. Hopefully, did people get that in their mailbox this time? Okay, that's great. I'm seeing heads nodding yes. And I also sent out an update with the public comments for the 2 proposals that were scheduled for today. I will continue that process of sending out a list of the public comments that we have received. I can create the list for all of them. I haven't done it yet. So for the ones that are coming up, I'll make sure I send them out in an email in advance of the meeting. I think that is, questions?
Thank you. Commissioner Klein, do you have a question?
I do. Thank you, Chair. Just curious on the name badges, the magnetic name badges that was going to be ordered. Is that something you're doing, Commissioner?
Those were
Or is
ordered?
the county doing that?
The county ordered them, yes.
They were ordered on Monday. They usually take anywhere about 7 to 14 days to come in, but they've been ordered and paid for.
Question, do we have name badges to write our names on for our upcoming town halls? Is that something that's in the
packet? I don't think it is, but I can check.
That'd be a good thing to add.
You do have name tents that are already in there.
Okay.
So those are already in your
Very good. That's all.
packet.
Commissioners, are there any other questions or comments for the Public Outreach Committee? Commissioner Holmgren, can you give us an update? Have we received any requests for speakers?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Okay, and what are go ahead.
I don't know. Have we had anybody else fill out the form, Johnny?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
No.
And this would draw upon our many references to a speakers bureau. Has the outreach committee given any thought to the protocols, how we will be responding to these requests once they do come in?
Yes, we are working on a draft document that would kind of handle a little bit of a protocol of what that would look like. And we're using the document that was used by the last Charter Review Commission as a baseline, but not necessarily going to copy it word for word or anything like that. But that's the starting point.
Is the intent that we would respond by sending out one commissioner, two commissioners, or has that been decided yet?
That has not been decided. The previous Charter Review Commission varied that based off of the context of the request. So at more public, for example, at the Camas City Council or the Vancouver City Council, when they attended those meetings, there were multiple members of the commission, but there was then guidance that for smaller groups, only a single commissioner was necessary.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, if there are no other questions or comments, we'll move on to discussions about updates from proposed amendment study committees. We'll first ask for an update from 2614 performance audits. Commissioner Selman, please.
No change, still waiting information.
You are scheduled for presentation next week, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I understand that the legal review will be available to you on Friday. 2624, require annual report publication by county manager. Commissioner Alaguame, please.
Thank you, Chair. I believe I'm still waiting for some information.
What information?
That would be from when I checked earlier today, I didn't have anything regarding that from the prosecuting attorney's office. I might have just missed that email though.
Yeah, I saw that come in just maybe a half hour before our meeting started.
I checked an hour before our meeting started. In that case, you've got one up on me there. In that case, I'm no longer waiting for information. I'm now just waiting for the meeting to end so I may read that information.
Okay, thank you. 2632, whistleblower protections by county employees. Also, Commissioner Alaguame, please.
Thank you, Chair. It is my intention to defer that until 2027.
Okay, thank you. 2637, County Council Investigative Authority. Commissioner Sittleman, please.
Still waiting for legal review and financial analysis.
You're waiting for both, is that correct? Okay. Thank you. And now come back to 2626, Clark County's requirement to support public safety. Commissioner Donnelly, please.
Thank you, Chair. I have an important announcement and some comments that are related. First, the committee for this amendment met last Sunday, and after discussion, we unanimously agreed to defer further action by the full commission on this amendment until next year. We will continue to work on it. We believe it will be better and stronger for next year's ballot if we take time to perfect it on several fronts. For example, the financial services report has just now been delivered to us several days ago, and we are reviewing it. And comments keep coming in at the town halls that we're very interested in. We expect some comments from the PA, and we want to review all of them thoroughly. Next, I want to raise a related factor in this deferral: the undue influence of an elected official on our process. Whether around the table you individually support or oppose this amendment, we must all unite to defend the independence of our processes from the other branches of county government. I refer to our elected auditor, who has taken an unusually active role in opposing this amendment, holding multiple meetings with other elected officials and with individual charter review commissioners over the past weeks, presenting an opposition report that I have not seen. So meanwhile, I and the amendment committee have been on the outside of this process waiting. And all of this may demonstrate the need next year to revise and reintroduce Amendment 2609, which prohibits county government from interfering with initiatives and charter amendments. But the bottom line is this Charter Review Commission is nothing if it is not independent. Yet procedurally, we committee chairs must go to the executive branch for cost and legal review. Those officials owe it to us to act without bias. Other elected officials and staff have maintained that standard, even while going on record, either supporting or opposing the amendment in its current version. Question for all of us: where is the ethical line for an elected official who opposes the amendment? At what point does individual opposition become interference, putting the hand on the scale? I believe, unfortunately, that the auditor has come close to or even has crossed those lines, and that should concern not only us, but the public. And so thank you for listening to all of that. And I would also like to ask the chair, do we need to take any kind of vote or anything to defer the amendment?
Thank you, Commissioner Donnelly, for your detailed comment. No action is required by the body. The decision to defer rests with the committee.
Thank you. It's deferred.
Commissioner Jay, please.
Quick question about deferment specifically on this amendment. Would that, by removing it from this year's process, would that mean that the PA's office wouldn't be able to review it? Or would they still review it? That is my question.
I think your question is, will the PA's office do the review in 2026 despite the amendment being deferred to 2027? I can't answer that. I will ask Katie to do so, please.
It is my understanding that the PA's office would only be reviewing the amendments, the proposed amendments that were actually going forward this year, and that legal analysis would be next year, would be for the proposed amendments next year. Although myself, and I think I can speak on behalf of the PA's office on this particular one, if the body wanted to vote, to take a vote and give guidance on that, that I would be open to that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Commissioner Donnelly, perhaps you can add some clarification. I understood that question also from Commissioner Jay to mean that you're interested in receiving the opinion earlier rather than later. So you have the benefit of time of hearing the opinion, understanding maybe what concerns could exist, and then making use of the decision to defer so that there is, in fact, ample time to respond to that opinion. Is that a good summary?
That is an excellent summary, and it's very important to us that we have that opinion as soon as possible, because we want to start making improvements and responding as soon as possible. So thank you for bringing that up.
Katie, please.
So with that, because we are on such a tight timeline for the remainder of the meetings, it may be something, depending on how this body decides, that would be outside of our normal schedule, that opinion would be issued.
So Katie, if the body were to vote to make that request, is that something that, say, sometime after July 8th, the PA's office could give that some consideration?
This summer would be appropriate.
Okay. Is that Commissioner Klein, please?
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Donnelly, I want to thank you for all the work that you've done on this amendment. Your detail and attention to everything, your exquisite dedication to this purpose has been admirable, and it's been a pleasure to serve with you on this committee. I look forward to more work.
Thank you.
And I thank you for the comment that you've made regarding Auditor Kimsey. It's been disturbing, the obsession that he's displayed continuously in the town halls and his ongoing approach to other elected officials, and almost to the point of badgering them about this. I don't know what is in his craw, but it has been a problem, and hopefully it won't be an ongoing problem in 2027 when we bring this back.
Commissioner Selwyn.
Just wanted to confirm as a co-sponsor and also a sponsor of a amendment that was deferred in favor of this one previously, that I support this deferment and I have no intention of bringing mine back. I agree with the deferment until next year, and we will come up with a much more refined amendment, and the timing will be adequate to address the needs of the public.
Thank you. Commissioner Donnelly or Commissioner Jay, did you want to make a motion regarding the request for the PA's office to continue the review?
Go ahead.
I would like to motion that the PA's office considers 2626 after our July 8th final vote deadline during the summer, so that it can be considered prior to next year's ballot considerations.
Donnelly, second.
It's been moved and seconded to make a request to the PA's office to proceed with a legal review of proposed amendment 2626. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Holmgren.
This is an ill-formed thought, but I do wonder if this is asking the PA's office to essentially have to do extra work on this amendment, given the fact that it is likely to receive this feedback and then go through the entire process or most of the process again next year, and then have to go and get comment again from the PA's office after it's been revised based off of this first round of feedback. And so we will be getting more legal review for this one amendment than any of the others.
Commissioner Landisberg, please.
I think there's something to be said when there's something is this complex, that we allow it to have a little extra staff time, including the PAs. I don't think it's favoring it. I think it's only helping us because it's just even the pages and everything that was written, it's just a lot to digest.
Thank you. Secretary Garber, please.
I would like to agree with Commissioner Landisberg. I think this one is very complicated, and any advice that the prosecuting attorney can provide to this group could help it immensely, and I think that this would be wise.
Are there any other comments? Okay, let's do a roll call vote on this. An affirmative vote would extend the request to the PA's office to do the legal review of 2626 at their convenience this summer after July 8th. Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ottaguame.
Abstain.
Commissioner Donnelly.
Aye.
Commissioner LeBrandt.
Aye.
Chair Erickson.
Aye.
Secretary Garber.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamlick.
Aye.
Commissioner Landisberg.
Aye.
Commissioner Jay.
Aye.
Commissioner Klein.
Aye.
Commissioner Gasquet.
Aye.
Commissioner Holmgren.
Aye.
Commissioner Benton.
Aye.
Commissioner Solomon.
Aye.
So we have 10 ayes, 1 nay, and 2 absent.
Okay, the vote.
1 abstain. I didn't mean absent.
Okay, the motion carries. And the request is submitted to the PA's office to please proceed with a review of Amendment 2626 at your convenience this summer. We appreciate your willingness to accommodate that, Katie. Okay, we'll next move on and ask for an update from the drafting committee. Commissioner Landisberg, please.
So we've gotten 5 ready. We should have 2 ready on Friday. And we may be just slightly reformatting it, trying to anticipate July 8th when we need to figure out the order that we're going to be putting them forth to the auditor's office. And I sent an email today to the auditor and asked him, from my review, it looked like Charter Amendment 18 was the last number that was used. So we need to know for certain where we start our numbering.
Thank you. Can you clarify what you mean by they're ready? You mean that they're ready for the Scrivener to begin their review?
They are ready for the Scrivener. So we've gone through and put them in the form that we've been using as far as the whereases. And we had one that was complicated and we did it slightly differently. So when it's necessary, I think we should have some exception if there's something that's very complex. So yes, and I've been working with Michelle when on the 19th, July 9th, when we have to decide the order of our amendments, there's a little Avery sticker that we can slap on the top of each printed amendment. And then you all can sign it so we can get it all done on the day that we vote.
Thank you for your work. Thank you for that clarification. The decision as to what order we want the amendments to appear will, of course, be a decision by the body. It'll be a function of what amendments we decide to advance. So we'll get there. Appreciate your attention to that detail. Katie, please.
As far as the whereas statements, they're recitals, so they don't have to meet a straightforward formula, or everyone really shouldn't be exactly the same for each one, because the whereas statements should recite the purpose and also the process that was taken to get it to the point that it's in. So I just wanted to clarify that for the group to understand that. And I'm sure you do, but that was
Did
more.
change. I mean, there are a couple of things. The process is the same, that we met in such and such
Right.
date. But the first thing is like what the amendment is about. So that's
Right.
different on each. And then when we get to the meat of the thing, it's different. Most of them can be done in a one whereas paragraph, but one that was complicated had a lot of be it resolved, be it resolved, be it resolved, because it was too complicated.
Yeah, so I just wanted to state that for the group so that you all understood that it is appropriate for them to be different based on each of the proposed amendments.
Thank you. Commissioner Landsberg, is there anything else from the drafting committee?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our next agenda item, comments by county staff. Begin with Michelle, please.
I don't have anything this evening.
Thank you. Kathleen?
Yes. I just wanted to talk to council about the code update for the Ethics Review Commission. Our council is not meeting the week of July 7th because it's their 4th of July holiday. So the first public hearing, because of the notice requirements, will be July 21st. And I will just share, I've talked to them individually. They did not vote, just getting input. I have not heard of any concerns. I am going to put it on next Wednesday's council time just so that they can have one public discussion about it before the July 21st. But I just wanted to let you know that that is the date of the hearing that will happen. But unfortunately, it's not going to be before your July 8th deadline.
Okay, so the timing is interesting because our vote is on July 8th. Earlier, we had understood July 7th and appreciate that clarification. It does bring up the question about how we may want to proceed then. Mr. Hamlick, do you have any thoughts? And then Secretary Garber has some insights as well.
Can you use your microphone?
Commissioner Landisberg, please.
So what I would propose is that however many amendments that we might want to do, that we would make yours the very last one. And would it be possible, even though we send it to your office for signature, if council decides to vote it before you have to go to the auditor, can we remove it?
You would have to do it in an open public meeting, take an official vote on it to remove it or to rescind your vote on that measure. And then it would not be reviewed and it would not be sent to the auditor's office, which is, remember, August 4th, I believe, is the final date So that's the very last date that you have before taking any other action.
Miss, I don't know, what did you say the date was that they couldn't vote on it based on what you're saying?
July 21st. And if I can offer a potential process that might help is on your vote on July 8th, have it be contingent on the council not approving it. So then that you don't have to have another public meeting to take that vote.
Katie, can you comment on the legal permissibility of that?
I would agree with Kathleen that that would be one way to do it, is making contingent on the vote on the 21st by council.
Okay. Otherwise, we would need to come back and this body would need to hold an open meeting sometime, presumably July 29th or something of that nature, correct? Before August 4th, but after the 21st.
That would be correct if you don't do a contingency on the
correct.
approval.
Yeah, I'm saying if we don't do that, then that's our recourse. Okay. Come back to Commissioner Hamlet. Do you have any comments on this?
No, I'm really okay with that. I think that's a really good avenue, contingent on what the council does. And I will be planning on speaking about it on that day.
Okay. Okay. And Secretary Garber, please.
And thank you. I do agree with Katie regarding that. I've seen many amendments be rescinded at the auditor's office. And I think the way that Kathleen Otto talked about making it contingent is a perfect way of doing it. So this is a great way going forward.
Okay. Thank you, Kathleen. Johnny, is there anything that you'd like to share with us?
I don't have anything this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your ongoing support with the public outreach. We really appreciate it. Kate, is there anything that you'd like to share with us?
I do. I have a letter to read to the commission. So I sent this out via email earlier, just before the meeting, but I will read it into the record as such. For the record, Katie Jolma, DPA with the Civil Prosecuting Attorney's Office. I feel it is my duty to address the contents of the presentation materials of proposed Amendment 2615 before it is presented to the public. I have authority from my Chief Deputy PA to do so, and this statement has been concurred and reviewed by besides myself, two other civil PAs. First, even though Commissioner Gascade made substantive changes to this proposed amendment, she never resubmitted her proposed amendment to the Civil PA's office following my initial review and has not contacted or reached out to me in any way following her initial email to me, which I replied to. It should be noted that all other commissioners have worked directly with the reviewing attorney in a cooperative and respectful way to correct and edit all other proposed amendments. Commissioner Gasquet is choosing to operate outside of these standards. Second, her presentation is littered with half-truths, misrepresentations, unfounded assumptions, and outright falsities. To begin, page 2 of the presentation states, quote, "This amendment is grounded in standards identified by leading local government experts," end quote. However, Commissioner Gasquet rejected the recommendations provided to her by me as a representative of the Clark County Civil Prosecuting Attorney's Office, which is the county's government expert on ethics. Moreover, to my knowledge, she has never reached out to Clark County's Human Resources Department or Clark County's Ethics Review Commissioners. Who are these so-called local government experts she refers to if they do not include the county's actual ethics experts? These unsupported assertions about, quote, leading experts are repeated on page 11. Page 3 asserts that, quote, ethics code required by July 31, 2022, not adopted, end quote. This is factually untrue. The Clark County Council adopted Ordinance 2022-04-03. So it was adopted on March 3rd, 2022, which created Chapter 2.07, the Ethics Review Commission of the Clark County Code. This created 2.07.010, 2.07020, and 2.07030. These codes reference RCW Title 42, specifically RCW 42-23070, and the Clark County Human Resources Policy 13.1, which is a legally acceptable and common way to adopt local codes. The state a code was never adopted misrepresents these facts. This misrepresentation is reiterated on page 11. Page 3 asserts that, quote, Ethics Oversight Office approved by the voters in November 2021, not established, end quote. This is factually untrue. As passed by the voters, Section 8.13, Ethics Review Commission and Oversight Office states in part, quote, an ethics oversight office shall be established by the county manager to operate an ethics complaint hotline, accept and investigate potential ethics complaints, and provide staff support to the Ethics Review Commission. The Ethics Review Commission and Oversight Office will be administrated through the Office of the County Manager, emphasis added. This is exactly how the current Ethics Commission and Oversight Office is set up. It is administrated through the Office of the County Manager, where all the listed functions and mandates have been met. To state the Ethics Oversight Office was never established misrepresents the words of the charter and the conduct of the County Manager's office. This misrepresentation was repeated on page 11. Linked in my email is the 2021 Charter Resolution creating Section 8.12 and 8.13 as originally provided. Page 3 asserts that, quote, voters were promised an ethics program. They received a hotline designation, end quote, as if to insinuate that the hotline was the only thing implemented under the 2022 requirements, which is factually untrue. As stated above, all the requirements under the 2022 charter have been met. This also greatly dismisses the work of not only the Ethics Review Commissioners, but the staff that have worked diligently to prop up a new commission. Page 3 leaves out the function of the Civil Prosecuting Attorney's Office as legal advisor to the Ethics Review Commission, and that it is an independent office not subject to any oversight by the county manager. Rather, the elected Clark County Prosecuting Attorney, Tony Golick, has direct oversight of the Civil PA's office and indirect oversight of the Ethics Review Commission. It should be noted that PAs must pass a separate ethics test for admission to the bar and must maintain good standing with the WSBA, who has additional oversight over all Washington licensed attorneys. The presentation also fails to mention the role of independent investigators that are hired for certain claims and omits any reference to the practice of hiring outside legal counsel when deemed necessary due to conflicts of interest. There is currently a complaint where this happening right now this year, where both of these practices were instituted. This information was given to Commissioner Gasquet in my preliminary legal review, but was omitted from this public presentation. Pages 5 and 6 assert that the county, quote, cannot afford to leave $44 million in fraud exposure unmanaged, end quote. However, this claim is based on federal fraud estimates that are not comparable and have no legitimate basis as applied to Clark County. If Commissioner Gasquet wanted to present a factual report of the estimated fraud happening within Clark County government, then she should have used the county's actual audit reports conducted by the state auditor's office. She did not. It took less than 2 minutes to pull up all of Clark County's independent audits conducted by the SAO for 2025, 2024, and 2023, which are linked in my email. Out of the 12 reports available, only one found, quote, material deficiencies in how the county was internally capturing federal grant data, which was immediately corrected and resulted in no loss of public funds, as found in subsequent reports. It is an egregious overexaggeration and misrepresentation by Commissioner Gasquet to imply the county has $44 million in, quote, estimated annual fraud exposure if her proposal isn't passed. Page 7 makes numerous assumptions about the current hotline, the ability of the PA's office to recognize unethical conduct, and what type of complaints are received via the hotline. She offers no proof of these assertions, no reports, and provides no evidence that any of this is true. What I can tell you is that 100% of the complaints that come to the county via the hotline, by telephone, in email, through letters, or in-person complaints are given a complaint number and forwarded to the Ethics Review Commission for a prima facie review. Moreover, as listed, the public does have 3 codes to reference, which they do in their submitted complaints, and professional staff already work to support the Ethics Review Commission now. These statements completely dismiss the expertise of the current commissioners, the Civil PA's office, and the staff in the manager's office. Additionally, the chair of the Ethics Review Commission is a licensed attorney in good standing with the WSBA. Page 9 asserts that, quote, ethics code deadline passes unfulfilled, end quote, which as analyzed above is factually untrue. Finally, the proposed amendment continues to have legal deficiencies. Should this amendment pass, I will provide an in-depth legal analysis, including case law, to support the legal deficits that remain unaddressed as currently written. Thank you.
Katie, thank you for your comments. I feel like after that, it's only appropriate to let Commissioner Gasquet to respond.
Unlike the prosecuting attorney, I was elected to reform the ethics. And I don't understand why they're interfering. It's a conflict of interest to protect the system that you currently operate. You haven't handled any other amendment this way. I did respond to your email. I asked for you to cite case law. I asked for help from you to determine the language. You're missing a presentation that I gave in which I spoke about the government ethics experts that I'm quoting, that I demonstrated the language comes from Jacksonville, Florida charter, that this language is in use in this country. And just in general, I think you have a conflict of interest and you should recuse yourself from this. This is just unacceptable to interfere with our process, to interfere with the fact that I was elected to reform the ethics program. Some things that you mentioned. I did not make any substantive changes. I added a date and I reworded the sentence. There is no actual written ethics code. That's what I'm referring to. I can't look at the ordinance and read what the county council has written about gifts, about recusing yourself when you have a conflict of interest, about whistleblower protections. I have to go refer to a state law instead of reading a local ordinance. That is not what the voters wanted. That's not what I wanted when I helped write 812 and 813. The office does not have a staff member. It does not have an ethics officer that anyone can speak to when they have questions. That person does not exist. That's what I mean when the office hasn't been created. I am the originator of the Office of Oversight. I got that put into the amendment in 2021. My intention when I did that was that there would be someone staffing that office whose entire job was to help the day-to-day operations of the ethics program. That's what I mean when I say that it hasn't been manifested. My reference to that 5% number is not a federal government. I referred to the GOA's number as secondary. The number I referenced is from a report of people who study fraud. And that 5% number applies to all organizations, including local government. They study local government fraud. I mean, in general, I shouldn't have to debate you. You're a prosecuting attorney. You're not an elected member of this board. The only people I should need to debate on this issue are sitting at this table and are online. As Commissioner Donnelly had mentioned earlier about the inappropriate behavior of elected officials, your office that's doing this is inappropriate. I don't understand why you're fighting so hard against this reform. This is the established structure for an effective ethics program. That is what I just demonstrated at my last presentation, the one that you're missing the details from. This presentation is just asking the question for the vote. I gave an interim presentation that covered the issues you raised in your legal review, which was not wholly based on legal issues, but actually went into substantive issues about whether or not these changes need to be made. And that's not on you to decide. The voters elected me with a clear margin of victory to address these issues with the structure. And that's all I have to say. I think it's inappropriate.
Commissioner Gasquet, you're scheduled to make your presentation today. Would you like to proceed with that presentation today?
I don't know if I can. She's already used her time to influence the commission in a way that is just inappropriate. And so I don't even know how to move forward with this. And honestly, and that's been the issue all along, is not knowing how to move forward with this. But I have demonstrated that the language is used in other local governments. I have demonstrated that this is what the leading experts, and when I say local government experts, I don't mean local as in here. I mean experts on just general local government ethics programs. So I don't know. I don't know how to move forward.
Commissioner Landsberg, I'll come to you in a second before. So Commissioner Gasquet, I think your options are to proceed with the scheduled presentation today, to withdraw the amendment, to defer it, or to ask for this body to approve your presentation to be made later in our schedule, another date.
I think my request is that the prosecuting attorney office recuse themselves and allow us to seek outside legal review.
Commissioner Landsberg.
So ultimately, part of the process will ultimately require the deputy prosecutor, someone in the prosecuting attorney's office.
It would be me.
It would be you, okay. But Tony Golick has designated that authority to you. So he's the elected official. So it is the process. So however we vote, whatever we think, if it goes forward, I believe you announced early in the process, if it didn't comply with law, your office would pull the amendment. That's what I remember.
I think pulling the amendment is a decision for this body.
No, I don't, I thought it was part of the prosecuting attorney's
You
office,
can-
not sending it to the auditor.
Did you want to make a comment, Katie? Sir.
I can address Commissioner Landisberg's to clarify.
Yep.
We don't pull anything. We either choose to sign or we don't sign. And what I'm talking about right now is not the proposed amendment. It's the content of the materials that were sent out to the public, which represented these facts in her presentation that were factually untrue. I am here to clarify the record of what was in the materials put out to the public. I did not comment on the substantive nature of the proposed amendment, and I'm not doing so now. That has to go through a different procedure. So I just want to clarify what I'm talking about right now.
Thank you. Katie, speaking to Commissioner Gasquet's comment about the review from the PA's office, we've received reviews both by you and by Kevin. And I haven't spoken with Commissioner Gasquet about this. Is there an opportunity for Kevin or someone else to provide a second review of this amendment? And I don't know if Commissioner Gasquet would find that of interest or not. But I'll
Well, let
ask
me
you.
clarify, because no clients within the county get to choose their prosecuting attorney. The auditor, the council, this commission, by individual or by group, do not get to choose which PA, they don't get to doctor shop, who they want to review their legal issues. And that is final.
Commissioner Gaffney, I'll come back to you. Do you have, would you like to proceed with your presentation today? Would you like to ask the body to approve deferral to a later date, withdraw, defer, or some other option that you'd like to propose?
I don't know. I don't know how to proceed forward with this. She continues to try to influence how the commission will vote on this. I don't think the prosecuting attorney's office has weighed in on anyone else's presentation content, especially given that she's only reading the PowerPoint and she doesn't actually get to hear the presentation. And also, it's clear she didn't review the interim presentation.
Mr. Chair, if I could I motion for a recess for 10 minutes? This is a lot for everybody to digest. Maybe
Yeah.
a 10-minute break would
Yeah, I was.
help people think about that.
Yeah, I was just about to suggest that we do take a break and that if you're not ready to make a decision, that we could come back to that, even if we want to do it later in the meeting, not necessarily at the end of the break, but we'll come back to that. Commissioner Lansbury, did you have another comment?
My only comment or question to Ms. Joma is, what is the significance if your office doesn't sign the charter amendment?
It will not be sent to the auditor's office.
Commissioner LeBrandt has his hand up online.
Thank you. Commissioner LeBrandt, please.
I'm willing to defer until after the recess.
So we take a break. That's what he thought.
Okay, Commissioners, this is a healthy debate, and I think it is appropriate that we do take a recess longer than our normal break. I'd like to suggest that
15 minutes?
What?
15 minutes would be 6:30?
I'd like to suggest that we take a 15-minute break. It's now 6:15, and we would come back at 6:30.
So moved.
Second, Commissioner Jay. Oh,
Okay.
Brad.
Are there any opposed? Commissioner Algoma, you're opposed? Do you have an alternative proposal?
Could we just do 10 minutes, please?
So the motion on the floor is to take a 15-minute break. And Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ottaguame,
No.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Aye.
Commissioner LeBrandt,
Aye.
Chair Erickson,
Aye.
Secretary Garber,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamlick,
No.
Commissioner Landisberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Klein,
Aye.
Commissioner Gasquet,
Aye.
Commissioner Holmgren,
No.
Commissioner Benton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Silliman.
Aye.
Majority rules.
Okay. It's now 6:16. We will come back at 6:31. Commissioners, welcome back. Our next item of business is to go to new business. And as we agreed in our last meeting, Secretary Garber is going to run this portion of the meeting while I make the presentation. And I will formally pass the gavel.
I have the power. Thank you. Okay, so right now we have the presentation for 2620, limitation on consecutive terms for county council members. The Commissioner Erickson is the chair of this. Michelle, can you put 30 minutes? Thank you so much. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Please start the clock.
Commissioners, good evening. This is the study committee presentation for Amendment 2620, limitations on consecutive terms for county councilors. Joining me on the committee were Commissioners Chrisley, Gasquet, Ottaguame, and Holmgren. And I want to thank them, but I also want to specifically acknowledge Commissioner Holmgren's participation, since he did not support this amendment in the second reading, but he did participate on the committee, and his participation did make the amendment stronger. And to my knowledge, this is the only committee that had that kind of participation. Next slide, please. The Clark County Home Rule Charter establishes the county council as the legislative body of our county government. The charter provides for 5 district-based council members serving 4-year terms. The charter establishes relatively few qualifications for office, and under the current charter, a council member may seek re-election indefinitely. Amendment 2620 addresses that issue by limiting service to 12 consecutive years. Next slide, please. There are several reasons why term limits should be considered. They create periodic opportunities for fresh perspective, encourage competitive elections, expand opportunities for public service, and help address the effects of long-term incumbency. But before I go further, I would like to put 16 years in perspective. 16 years ago was 2010. A baby born in 2010 is now a teenager in high school, learning to drive and almost able to vote. Instagram did not exist, and we were still renting DVDs from Blockbuster. Barack Obama was in his first term of his presidency. In 2010, we didn't have the charter. And since 2010, over 100,000 people have moved to Clark County. 16 years is a long time. And when it comes to how long someone should hold the same public office, the question before us is not, is 12 years too short, but is 16 years too long? This amendment answers that question. Yes, 16 years is too long for someone to continuously hold the same position on a county council. And this establishes a limit of 3 consecutive terms. Next slide, please. Clark County would not be breaking new ground. Term limits have already exist in several other Washington Home Rule Charter counties. Pierce County limits service on the county council to 2 consecutive terms. And Snohomish County limits service on the county council to 3 consecutive terms. Next slide, please. Whatcom County also limits council members to 3 consecutive terms. And San Juan County similarly limits members of the council to 3 consecutive terms. Taken together, 4 of the other 6 home rule charter counties have all concluded that it is appropriate to limit the number of consecutive terms members of the county council should serve. Next slide, please. This proposal limits the service on the county council to 3 consecutive terms or 12 years. After reaching that limit, an individual becomes eligible to serve again after sitting out 1 full term. The amendment counts prior service, current service, and partial terms exceeding 2 years when determining eligibility. A council member cannot reset eligibility by seeking election in a different district. And the amendment also treats council positions, all positions, the same, including any future changes in the council structure that may include at-large positions, which is something we've had in the past. Next slide, please. This is a balanced and measured approach. 12 years provides enough time to gain experience, develop expertise, address complex issues, and complete long-term initiatives. The proposal applies only to county council members. A one-term break was viewed as sufficient to achieve the goals of term limits while still allowing well-qualified and popular candidates to return to service in the future. Counting past and current service treats all council members equally. This is a reasonable middle ground that balances experience, continuity, accountability, and renewal. Next slide, please. This amendment does not impose a lifetime ban on public service. It does not remove anyone from office. It does not disrupt operations of county government. It does not change election process, and it does not decide who can hold office. Voters will continue to decide who serves on the county council. This amendment simply establishes a reasonable limit on how long any one individual may serve continuously in that same office. Next slide, please. Some have argued that the need for term limits has not yet been demonstrated in Clark County. The county council, as we know it now, has existed only for about 10 years under the current charter. Even if term limits had been included in the original charter, no council member would have reached the 12-year limit yet. Additionally, structural safeguards are most effective when established proactively rather than reactively. Additionally, this body has discussed several matters that add to the appropriateness of council term limits. First, we have discussed potential compensation changes to the council, which would increase the incentive for longer tenure. Secondly, there have been discussions about council size, which would statistically increase the likelihood of long-term council members. And third, we have discussed changes to county election procedures, including the elimination of primaries under certain circumstances, which some have expressed concerns regarding the advantages that may be afforded to incumbents should those changes be implemented. If you hold those concerns, this amendment is for you. This amendment stands on its own merits independently of those matters, but also proactively addresses those concerns before becoming larger issues. Next slide, please. So what would happen if King County had our term limits? King County provides a useful case study because it has operated under a home rule charter since 1968. It was the first home rule charter county, and it does not and has not had term limits. During that time, since it has been a home rule charter county, 53 different persons have served on the King County Council. If Clark County's proposed term limits had retroactively been in place, only 12 of those 53 council members would have reached the limit. Of those 12, several served 16 years, several served 20 years, one served 20 years, and one served 32 years and is still serving today. More than 3/4 of King County's council members would never have been affected by this proposal, reinforcing that this amendment represents a moderate approach to term limits while preventing extremely long tenures. Next slide, please. Do Washington voters want term limits? The answer is yes. Washington voters approved term limits for state elected offices in 1992. The courts later ruled that term limits for state offices must be implemented through an amendment to the state constitution rather than a voter initiative. But the will of the people was made known. They want term limits. As I mentioned, 4 of Washington's 6 charter counties currently have term limits, including 2 counties whose provisions were adopted through a charter amendment like we are considering today. Interestingly, Pierce County voters rejected a charter amendment to relax their term limits from 2 terms to 3 terms, showing not only do they have an appetite to keep term limits, but a more aggressive version than what we're considering. Term limits appear in Washington cities, including Spokane and Yakima, and also been approved for some mayors. Voters support term limits and do so across political ideologies, and this is not a partisan issue. Next slide, please. What are the financial implications? This is a verbatim copy of what the Financial Services Office produced. There's a lot of text up there, but basically they said that there is no meaningful fiscal impact and that the county will continue to conduct elections regardless of whether there are term limits or not. Next slide, please. Legal considerations. The following comments are my opinions only. From my perspective, the strongest implication of legal viability is that the similar provisions already exist in other Washington charter counties. 4 Washington charter counties currently operate under term limits and that are similar or nearly identical to the language proposed here. I'm not aware of any successful legal challenges to these provisions. The Home Rule Charter provides a legal mechanism for voters to establish qualifications and limitations for county offices through the charter amendment process. I do not see any legal concerns associated with this proposal. Next slide, please. This is the resolution language. I'm not going to read it all. Next slide, please. You should have it in front of you. This is the continuation of the resolution language. Similarly, I'll let you read that. And then this is the actual charter language. This would establish a new section 6.7 titled Limitation on Consecutive Terms for County Council Members. No person shall be eligible to be elected to more than 3 consecutive terms as a member of the County Council. Service shall be considered consecutive unless separated by 1 full term, during which the individual did not hold the office of County Council member. All service, including service prior to the effective date of this section, shall be counted in determining eligibility, provided it was consecutive. Service of more than 1/2 of a full term shall be deemed a full term and for purposes of determining eligibility, and service in any county council position shall be counted when determining eligibility. Next slide, please. We're asked to identify both trade-offs and benefits. One trade-off is that some members of the public may wish to retain a council member beyond 12 years. While this is a potential scenario, the majority of the public supports term limits, and this amendment will allow popular council members to return after a 1-term break. Transitions will occur when council members reach term limits on consecutive service. Newly elected council members will require time to become familiar with ongoing policy, budget, and governance matters. However, this is a normal part of elected government, and this would have very limited increased frequency. Next slide, please. What are the benefits? This amendment establishes a clear and predictable framework for consecutive service on the council while preserving voter choice. It creates a periodic open seat election, which encourages broader participation and provides voters with additional choices. The amendment also addresses concerns associated with extended incumbency by ensuring that leadership renewal occurs periodically. Next slide, please. This version of term limits does not come at the expense of effective governance. 12 years provides sufficient time for council members to gain experience, develop expertise, address complex issues, and complete long-term efforts. The proposal also allows individuals to return to service after one full term out of office. The amendment preserves the benefits of experience while still providing periodic opportunities for leadership renewal. This is a balanced approach that promotes accountability, continuity, and public confidence in county government. Next and last slide, please. In closing, this amendment preserves voter choice. It is budget neutral. It follows an established precedent set by other home rule charter counties. It provides a balanced and moderate approach to term limits. It creates opportunities for fresh perspective while preserving benefits of experience, and it proactively addresses changes that could affect future service on the county council. Now, at the beginning of the presentation, I asked you to think about 2010, 16 years ago. Think about how much has changed in the last 16 years. 16 years is a long time. 4 terms is 16 years, and 16 years is too long for one person to hold the same office continuously on the county council. 12 years strikes the right balance between experience, accountability, and periodic leadership renewal. And for those reasons, I respectfully ask you to support the inclusion of Amendment 2620 into Clark County's charter. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson. And now we'll go ahead and take comments. Commissioner Landesberg.
So one of my comments, I'm glad that you changed it to 3 consecutive terms so you don't lose the continuity of how long it takes to get up to speed on some of the issues. So I appreciate that. But my issue goes beyond that. And I know it's not part of your amendment, but it's like we have other elected offices in Clark County. So if we're interested in term limits, you know, the auditor served since 1999. The prosecuting attorney who is leaving has been there since 2010, as has the clerk and the assessor. And the treasurer's running for her 3rd term. So it's a trade-off as to how much work it is to learn and manage an office versus giving it other people in it. So I just wonder why we're just singling out county councilors and not thinking about the other elected officials.
Thank you for the question. I can tell you that there are members of the committee who do support term limits for other members of the county government. This, as I mentioned several times, this is intended to be a moderate approach, a go slow approach, starting with the county council. The county council is the branch of county government that I personally believe is most appropriate to be subjected to term limits. I do support term limits for the executive branch as well, but I have begun by proposing term limits for the county council. I do know that there is support by others in the commission who would like to see another separate amendment to extend it to the other branch of government.
Thank you. We'll go ahead, Commissioner Adequemi.
Thank you. I just want to start by saying I really have enjoyed being a part of the committee for this proposed amendment. I think this is incredibly thorough. You did a wonderful job of really setting the understanding of how long 16 years in this is in this presentation. So I appreciate that. I will echo my fellow Commissioner Landesberg's comments that there are other county elected offices that I do wish were included in here, but I generally understand the need to be very precise and intentional in the way that we approach implementation and thinking about how this might be implemented. So just want to give that feedback and say that I'm 100% in favor of this moving forward, and I hope that the commission finds that they are as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Donnelly, please.
Thank you. Commissioner Erickson has done a great job supporting this amendment, and he has overcome some of my longtime questions about term limits. So I support this amendment. Theoretically, I've always thought voters should have the last and only say as to how long someone serves in office. But we don't live in a theoretical world, but a real world with real people. and elected officials serving a long time may establish and exercise spheres of influence that do not respect the division of power, and their incumbency may become a barrier to much needed challenges from other candidates that are in the public interest. This amendment's 3-term limit achieves the perfect balance, in my view, in light of those factors. And so I'm going to support the amendment, and I urge its approval, and then we can let the voters decide.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead. Commissioner LeBrandt.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be my let the voters decide moment, but I do want to play devil's advocate a little bit. I get the emotional appeal, you know, like wanting to keep things fresh, of keeping abreast of changes in the world around us and in the organization. And I also think that there are some benefits to incumbency. When we're voting on folks for those roles, we're basically looking to hire someone for a job, and it's a job that's important, and it's a job that's really complex. And when I think about the hiring process for for any other job, I would never say, okay, I want someone who's got like 4 or 6 or 8 years, but no more than 12. Like it just wouldn't make sense to put that kind of a cap on who's the best fit for a job. So that's my devil's advocate moment. I do intend to vote in favor of this because I think at the end of the day, this is a good one. This is a good thing for letting the voters decide, but something for us to keep in mind.
Thank you. Commissioner Holmgren, please.
So, thank you, Commissioner Erickson, for including me on the study committee. I know that we disagreed on this proposal, and I know you were hoping to maybe win me over, but I'm still going to be opposed. I appreciate your presentation and the inclusion on it. I do want to mention that I think the 16 years too long is not the most direct way of talking about this, because no one is elected for 16 years. They're elected for 4 years at a time. And if someone is elected for a fourth or a fourth or a fifth term, that's because the voters have found something that they like about that candidate, that they want to keep them in office. Whatever it is that they happen to be doing is popular. And it is limiting the choices of the voters by putting a limit of 12 years on top of it. And I think we should be open to the idea that while term limits are popular, certain politicians, certain people who are in elected office are also popular. It's kind of like the common public opinion finding that everybody doesn't like Congress, but they also keep re-electing their member of Congress. And it's a situation where it's, well, not my guy. My guy, I like keeping him around. And so I think that this is a proposal, again, I don't think term limits are the best thing, and I don't think they're the best thing for the county council. I think one of the real challenges that we also face is that the county council in Clark County is the weakest of our branches of government, and it struggles, it seems like, to impose on the rest of the government its own opinions sometimes. And this is another area where we were choosing to single them out, as some of my other commissioners have mentioned, versus the executive offices or any other particular office. And so I would think that it's a situation where we're going to have a even less experienced county council, while we may have more experience everywhere else within the county government. So those will be my reasons for voting against it. But again, I do appreciate all of your work and including me in the conversation throughout the process.
Thank you. Commissioner Benton, please.
Thank you, Mrs. Chair. And thank you, Commissioner Erickson, for the presentation. I can appreciate the sentiment of the amendment. Personally, I believe that it should be up to the people, and that if the people think an elected official has done a good job and continues to do a good job, that it should be up to them to retain that person in that position. I agree. Nobody in Clark County is elected for 16 years. They're elected 4 years at a time. And when people decide they're not doing a good job, they make a change. So I think that it should be kept the way that it is without term limits. However, I would say if you were to impose term limits to the council, I think that they should be applied across the board to all elected positions and not just one, because you are, as Commissioner Holmgren said, singling out one branch of government that's already the weakest branch of government in our current form of government. And so for those reasons, I'll be voting no.
Thank you. Commissioner Silliman, please.
I almost don't know if I want to comment because it's been expressed already, but I don't think that term limits personally are the solution to the problem. I know there's a sentiment that says, yeah, I'd like to term limit that guy out when he's my opponent, but if he's somebody that's working for me, well, no, I don't want him to be term limited out. So there is that conflict there. It seems like a solution to a problem that maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But my greater concern is to only apply it to one branch of government and not the others. We see the imbalance that it's caused at the federal level where we have term limits for our president, our elected president, but we don't for Congress. And we have people in Congress serving 50 years or more now. So I think I could support it if it applied to all elected officials, but since it doesn't, I don't think I can support it at this time.
Oh, Commissioner LeBrandt, please.
I think I've heard some compelling arguments and will be changing my position.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, well, I have a comment. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. And I don't know if you all remember, but during the second reading, I was opposed to this amendment. And I've thought long and hard about it, and I've done some research. And I found out since 1850, we've only had 3 commissioners that would have ever termed out on it. So this isn't a really very large issue for us. But I do believe it would encourage more competitive elections. I'm looking at the county auditor's race. Look how many people are running, how many fresh new ideas that could come to our county. And I think that's really great. I've always been a champion of the voice of the voter. And term limits are very popular. This is what voters want. So I'm saying let's let the voters decide on this, and I will be voting in favor of it. And seeing no other comments. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Jay, please.
Thank you, current chair Garber. Really appreciate it. And I agree with some of the torn sentimentalities. I've stewed over this myself. On the one hand, I remember how bipartisan this was passed within our commission. A lot of divergent viewpoints that I usually disagree on a lot of other things came together and agreed on this, which I thought was very impactful. I also do recognize what voters say on this amendment, or not on this amendment particularly, but about term limits in general. And I think as elected officials, we know that sometimes we have to, we look to the voters. We also have to use our own control our own judgment. And I do see this as a measure that at least mitigates some of the concerns I would normally have with term limits by allowing that, taking a gap year. But I also see the problems with only applying it to one branch. So I totally empathize with everybody's tornness to it, though I would be open to putting this on the ballot and sending it to the voters for them to ultimately decide. But I think that's ultimately for all of us. And I understand the conflict in all of us on this one because there's a lot of good points to be made on both sides. Although I generally do agree with the political science literature of saying the negative impacts of term limits, but this does not have a hard stopgap on it by allowing for that gap year. It does minimize those concerns a bit. I am rambling and I will stop. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do see Commissioner Gasquet would like, and we'll take hers and then we'll let Commissioner Erickson have a final comment.
So I'm kind of torn all the time on term limits, but I do think in this case, voters really want them. And I am among the people who think this should apply to the executive elected officials too. And I do like the idea of with the gap year, people can come back. So, I mean, I'm going to vote for it because I think voters should decide, but I definitely hope we'll think the executive.
Commissioner Erickson. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Klein.
Yeah, I'm going to pop in with one last comment. So I am torn on this as well. I voted no on the amendment when it was going through the process. I have a question in this slow roll, starting with the council, and then, of course, enveloping the electeds, the other executive electeds. How, the charter then would be broken up into two different term limit portions, addressing the charter, the council, and then the other electeds. So just trying to think about how the composition of the charter, will that be confusing? The other aspect is we've got, from a term limit, the thing that I'm conflicted about is that we've got term limits. Kimsey's been in his office for 26 years. That limit should have been slapped on a long time ago. And we're coming up against a term limit on assessor. The sheriff has no opponent this year. So if we didn't have, if he was term limiting out and we didn't have someone running, and it's dicey that the sheriff's position with the current law recently at the state level, I'm concerned about having term limits. I don't know how I'm going to vote yet, but I'm just expressing some of these thoughts. And I did ask a question that if you care to answer that, how that would work with the charter, doing it in steps, council first, executive offices second.
Thank you for the question and the opportunity to respond. So I did give a conscious decision to this phased approach. I did give consideration to taking the full bite of the apple and term limits for every office. And I obviously made the decision to start with the county council, see how the public reacts to that. If the public approves this, and I firmly believe that they would, if this goes to the ballot, this will pass. Then I believe that would set the stage for introduction of an amendment next year that would extend this to the executive branch. And I think that would pass as well. The logistics of how the wording of the charter would be amended to bring in additional term limits for the executive branch, I see that as a very minor administrative detail that could be worked out. But this allows the public to show their appetite for term limits. And if they approve it, as I firmly believe that they would, then it sets the stage for extending that to the other branch of office.
May I ask a secondary piece on that? So if we institute the term limits on the executive offices, then, and it's voted upon in 2027, all of a sudden, then we've got executive electeds that would automatically term them out.
That's a good question. Depends on how it's worded. The amendment for the county council includes all service, including past service and current service at the time that the amendment is approved. That may or may not be the way that we would word it for the executive branch. That would be something to be discussed. The committee on that could discuss it. I don't think that we could. This would be a legal decision, but I don't think we can immediately introduce an amendment that kicks someone out of office because they're retroactively term limited. But the wording around that would definitely be open for discussion. But this would be step one. If it passes, then I would very much be open to step two, which is extending this to the executive branch.
Well, I think we're pretty much out of time.
It's a question, not a comment. A clarifying question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Benton.
I understand this is very unlikely, but it doesn't look like it addresses what does happen if you have somebody term out and nobody runs for the position.
Well, that scenario that was posed around the sheriff, I think, I think the sheriff didn't get an opponent because the sheriff's popular and he's doing a good job. And so the idea that someone will be term limited out and now we're looking around because no one's going to step up, I think very, very unlikely. The fact that no one runs is a function of incumbency. In this case, the sheriff's been in there for one term. He's doing a good job. But we see that often when, long-term incumbency, no one steps up to run because they think the chances of success of winning are low. And at some point, that turnover becomes appropriate.
I'm not sure if that was your, did you want to do a wrap-up comment or should?
I'll just add one comment that, we've had a lot of discussions about what's an appropriate amendment for the charter. Policy, foundational, functional, structural changes. If ever there was an amendment before us, this fits the true definition of what a charter amendment looks like. This is not policy. This is foundational. This is functional. It's budget neutral. It's legally permissive. The voters will pass it. If we're looking for a win and we want to give the voters something that will genuinely improve Clark County government and that will be approved at the ballot, this is it.
Okay, well, thank you. So is there a motion to advance 2620 to the drafting committee?
Donnelly, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hamlet. Okay, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to advance 2620 to the drafting committee. Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ottaguame.
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly.
Aye.
Commissioner LeBrandt.
No.
Chair Erickson.
Aye.
Secretary Garber.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamlick.
Aye.
Commissioner Landisberg.
No.
Commissioner Jay.
Aye.
Commissioner Klein.
No.
Commissioner Gasquet.
Aye.
Commissioner Holmgren.
No.
Commissioner Benton.
No.
And Commissioner Silliman.
No.
7 to 6. Making sure. Okay.
7 ayes, 6 nays,
And
2
that's-
absent.
Thank you. And that's what I have also. And 7 is our number that would pass it. And it is moving to the drafting committee. Thank you so much, commissioners. And I'm going to go ahead and hand the gavel back to Chair Erickson.
Thank you, Secretary Garber. Commissioners, our next item of business is presentation on Amendment 2615 Ethics by Commissioner Gasquet. Commissioner Gasquet, I'll come back to you and ask you how you'd like to proceed today.
I'd like to defer to the 24th.
Okay. Would you like to, and by that you mean you'd like to ask the body to approve you to make your presentation on June 24th? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to make that motion?
Yes, I move that the presentation be moved to the 24th.
Seconded, Ottaguame.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to allow the presentation on 2615 ethics to be moved to June 24th. Is there any discussion? Okay, well, I will add that,
LeBrandt has his hand up.
oh, Commissioner LeBrandt, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's worth calling out a couple of things, a couple of concerns that I have. When we have other amendments that are having to tiptoe around how they represent feedback from the PA's office, the publicly strident response that we heard this evening is shocking. I want to amplify something that Commissioner Gasquet said, that these comments seem to relate to the content of the amendment presentation and not necessarily to the legal analysis of the amendment itself, which raises some big issues for me. First, as Commissioner Gasquet notes, this does not appear to have been the case for other amendment presentations, including those that have included claims that I've found maybe somewhat questionable. And so it does cause me to wonder why this amendment is the only one that appears to have been singled out for this level of focus and frankly vocal pushback. I'm also concerned that this now clouds the expectation that the commission would have of the analysis the PA's office provides, particularly for this amendment proposal, but not only for this amendment proposal. But far more concerning, what I'm hearing in terms of what I'm hearing is sort of implied sword of Damocles here, where the PA's office may not unilaterally pull an amendment per se, but can effectively do so by declining to approve an amendment as to form. And we commissioners are legal laypersons for whom it may be unclear now whether we might support this amendment, but be overridden by the PA's office. So with that, I do plan to support this motion, but I'm concerned. I'm very concerned that the perception of neutrality is damaged, and I don't know that it's possible to push that toothpaste back into the tube.
Thank you, Commissioner LeBrant. Commissioners, are there any other comments or discussion topics? Okay. Motion on the floor is to allow the presentation for Amendment 2615 ethics to be deferred to June 24th. That date is open on our schedule. It's been moved and seconded. Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ottaguame.
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly.
Aye.
Commissioner LeBrant.
Aye.
Chair Erickson.
Aye.
Secretary Garber.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamlick.
Aye.
Commissioner Landesberg.
Aye.
Commissioner Jay.
Aye.
Commissioner Klein.
Aye.
Commissioner Gasquet.
Aye.
Commissioner Holmgren.
Aye.
Commissioner Benton.
Aye.
And Commissioner Silliman.
Yes.
13 aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. And the presentation on 2615 will be deferred to June 24th. Thank you, Commissioners. Our last item, the new business, is amendment quantity and filtering process roundtable. Commissioners, this is intended to refer to a general discussion regarding the number of amendments that we want to send to the ballot and how we might winnow down the amendments that we are considering if that number is less than what we are going to organically arrive at. We won't be taking any votes today. This is a first touch on this discussion topic. The idea is that we'll go around and we'll just have everyone share their thoughts, and then we'll come back and revisit this later at another meeting. By my count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me back up. Commissioner Landesberg, you've had how many amendments sent to the drafting committee now?
We have 7 that have gone to, that we're going to, and 5 of them are approved. 2 of them are going to be voted on Friday. And then we just now have another one. So that would make 8.
Okay.
And we're sort of like at 7.5 because we're probably going to get the ordinance for.
Okay.
Commissioner.
So we've sent 8 to the drafting committee. We've yet to hear from 2614, 2624, and 2637, and 2615. So 4 presentations yet to be heard. Should all of those advance, then that would be 12. You've got 8, including today's, right? Okay. We've heard earlier that Secretary Garber has made inquiries of the elections office and that they can accommodate all of these on the ballot without being the reason to push to a second page. Is that correct?
It is correct, but there's a good possibility it could go to an 11 by 17 ballot with a stub, which brings an additional cost of about $82,000 just for the printing and mailing portion of it.
Okay, thank you. So taking that in consideration, but also recognizing that 12 could potentially be physically accommodated. The decision before us, or the discussion topic before us, is would we want to send 12? Is 12 the right number? Is something less the right number? So we'd like to begin by having just kind of open roundtable discussion. We could go around the room, share your thoughts. If you have also additional thoughts on a prospective process for how we might go from the number of amendments that we send to drafting to this lower prospective number, you could mention that as well. I will point out that Robert's Rules does not allow for straw polls, so we wouldn't be taking a straw poll. There are mechanisms to have other types of votes that are non-binding, but not straw polls. So with that, Commissioner Donnelly, would you care to start us off?
Yes, and as you may recall, at the town hall for District 1, I did ask those present, and they were not a large number. It was a very small sample of opinion. There seemed to be a sentiment for 6 being what they would accommodate mentally on their ballot. But I personally believe that 8 is the right number. I think we could push it to 8. And I think that would be the right number. I would love to see all of them go forward and have all 12. That would be great, because work has been done on these amendments, but I do think 12 is too many. So I think I would favor 8. And I have no idea how I just don't know how we would choose, how we would eliminate. That's a whole other question.
Okay, thank you. Before I forget, we'll go to Commissioner LeBrandt. He has his hand up, and then we'll come back to comments in the room. So Commissioner LeBrandt, please.
There we go. Sorry, having some tech issues. Actually, I had my hand up from the previous item, but I will chime in, having been at that town hall, echoing what Commissioner Donnelly mentioned, almost verbatim. I think 6 is a good number. 8's probably pushing it. 12 seems just. I think we run the risk of just having a lot of undervotes on some pretty good proposals. I'm not sure about a mechanism for whittling that down at this stage, other than the first one that comes to mind is some sort of a scoring system, or a ranked choice voting as a mechanism to do that. But yeah, I think there does seem to be some consensus around the idea that if we just throw too much out there, that not a lot's going to stick, and there's going to be a lot of undervoting. So.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jay, please.
I have absolute faith in the electorate and their ability to handle 12 amendments should it be done. But I think ideally probably about 10 is the ideal level. But that being said, we have a process to winnow them down, the amendments on the ballot. It's called the several votes that we have made as a commission on each step, every step of the way. And I hope that we've all been thinking about that, and not something that we should carry into next year, but we have a process. We've been killing amendments or putting them to rest in our own way. And I think we should continue to do that before we figure out how many amendments we have at the end. But I think 10 is reasonable, and I think even 12 if we need to, because they've been voted on multiple times and we've all weighed in on them, and we've all put TLC in each and every one of them. And if they made it through this process, I think they deserve a shot. Pass my mic.
Thank you. Commissioner Holmgren, please.
I think I would echo the comments that have been made so far. I think 12 is going to be too many. We should be endeavoring to narrow it down further. I think most of that has to be done at the July 8th meeting. I don't think maybe a couple more of them will be winnowed out before that time. But I think the thing that we're all going to have to do is go vote by vote on July 8th and make hard choices. There are some of these proposals that I think, maybe we like, but we think don't rise to the same level of urgency as others, and 8 votes is kind of the standard we set. And so I feel like that's the procedure that makes the most sense to me. And I think it's just a matter of each of us coming down and having to decide which are what are the proposals that we think are really worth being on the ballot. And maybe it is changing our vote at the last minute on a few of these because we don't think they need to be on the ballot they don't qualify for our top 6 or our top 8.
Thank you. Did you have a number? I don't know if I heard a number.
8 is probably the number I would go with, but I mean, again, I think I said, and my comment was, I think 6 would be preferable, but that is quite low given where we're at this point.
Commissioner Landisberg, please.
So I don't think it's fair to those of us who deferred our amendments to next year to think that now we're going to continue, like, let's say we vote on 8 and we say we want 4 of these to go forward next year. Then where are the people that have the amendments? And there's still a lot of amendments that were deferred to next year. This is the best year. This year is better than next year to have the voters vote because more people will turn out in the midterms than they will in an off-year election. So, and the cost to put them on the ballot will be less expensive this year than next. So I think we shouldn't have a number. We should just go with whatever we vote on.
Thank you. Commissioner Gasquet, please.
I don't know if I have like a magic number. I guess 8 maybe. Last time, the first round, I think we put 7, but the council tacked 2 more on. I think 9 was too much. There was some undervoting there. I do worry about voter fatigue, especially in a midterm election when there's a lot on the ballot. I think, yeah, just voting, giving them, figuring out which ones are the most popular. Maybe we seek some public comment around this. What is most important to the voters? What do they definitely want to see on the ballot this year versus what they might want to see next year? I do think that it muddies the deferment process to already have pre-established amendments that get moved to next year. And I do think it, as someone who's worked really hard on an amendment, to think about that being winnowed away just because we've set some magic number, the number of amendments kind of, doesn't feel great. So I don't know what the solution is. But I do think, 12 people aren't going to vote on the last 4 probably.
Okay. Since we're going around the room here, I'll go next. Commissioner Landsberg, I think your comments resonate well with me. Initially, I was ready to suggest a cap, 9 or 10, but I'm not sure that I'm ready to endorse that yet. I think that we can have this discussion. We can collectively discuss what we think is a number, but I'm not sure I'm ready to artificially suppress that number upon the amount of amendments that we move forward. I think on July 8th, we could all vote our conscience. We can keep in mind whatever number we think is too many. But if an amendment has made its way through this process, and as Commissioner Jay pointed out, I'm not sure that I'm ready to artificially set that aside. That being said, 12 does feel like a lot, but I'm not sure that I'm ready to support any type of artificial suppression of that number below 12.
So I've seen a lot of charter amendments from the city and from the county on the ballot, and I do think voters are pretty diligent. This is important to them. I don't think we're going to see a lot of undervoting. But with that being said, I am worried about it having to go to an 1117 ballot. I think that voters will become kind of surprised by the size. They're required to pull the stub off. They will probably rip the stub, which will cause a lot of them to be duplicated. It's going to slow down the process in elections. And I think they're going to get kind of frustrated with us for putting so many and then putting so many next year. I think 8 to me seems like a fair number. And I think when we go to vote on them, they should be voted on individually at that final meeting. So we know exactly where every person stands on them. But maybe we consider that if we know we're voting for 8, that you only vote for your top 8 and all the rest you would vote no. So we would have a clear understanding which are the top ones. So that's my thoughts.
Thank you. I will add that we will be voting on July 8th. We will be voting on the amendments individually. We won't be voting as a slate. Commissioner Selman, please.
My thoughts are, I am not sure about the theories about voter fatigue. I think if they have come through the process, we've winnowed them down, surprisingly, a lot of them. If we believe in the amendment and we pass it, I think they should go to the voters. If they're good ideas, voters don't get tired of voting for good ideas, is my theory. So I know I don't. If it's clear on the ballot what it is and it's what the people support, I think they're going to vote for it. Whatever we pass out of committee here and bring to the floor, if they get 8 votes, it should go on the ballot, whatever the number is.
Thank you.
Having said that, if we get to that meeting and somebody says, hey, mine's only a small amendment, we should follow the past precedent we've had of voluntary deferral. If you want to defer yours till next year and help out the group, volunteer to do it.
Commissioner Klein.
Thank you, Chair. We started out with, 40 amendments? And we have had the voluntary deferrals. We have some that have not passed. Some of those are going to try to get resurrected for 2027. We have about 14 that potentially could come to the end, and we're going to vote on them and go to the drafting committee. I don't like the idea of putting a number out there. I agree with you, Commissioner Landesberg, about that. What I would like to suggest is that we continue to work toward judiciously working through the amendments, let them have their fair hearing, vote, and then bring them through the process, the drafting committee. You said about 12 amendments would fit on a non-supersized ballot, correct-ish? About 12?
You know, and not knowing all the other pieces that are going to be on the ballot, that is really hard. When I was talking to the elections director, they felt 8 or 9, there would be no problem fitting it on an 8.5 by 17.
I don't think that we should underestimate the voters and say, oh, we'll just give you 6 because that's all we think you can handle, or 8 or 10. They're going to have a ballot in front of them. They're going to have a voters pamphlet that is going to have the pro and con statements. They're going to have a chance to look at this. And I think that the work that we've done collectively on this commission, that they should be able to have as many as we can fit on there. And Whatcom County had 10, and they had very few undervotes, as I recall, on their vote last year. So I don't favor putting a number on it, let all the amendments go through, see where it lands, and then we can make some decisions. That's where I stand on it.
Thank you. Commissioner Benton, please.
I agree with a lot of things that people have said. I don't know if I have an exact number. What I will say is, of all the stuff that we have put through, I believe we've sent some things to drafting just to kind of get them there and then get to the point where we really finally start to have some serious conversations about them. I think that we need to whittle some stuff out that's just not really necessary. So a final number might be 6 or 7 quality amendments in my mind.
Commissioner Hamlick, go ahead.
I agree with a lot of people. I think it's going to be really difficult. I mean, if I had to pick a number, it'd be probably 8 to 10. But I think when we come on July 8th, I think we'll all come with really good intentions to put our best ones forward and let that be the determination on how many we have going forward.
Commissioner Adequame, please.
Really, for me, the only barometer here is when we get to that larger sheet of paper and spend more money on it. I think to many of the points that were made by my fellow commissioners, people will engage with the voting process as they are wont to do, as much as they usually do. And so whether we do 12 or 4, people will engage with the voting process and the materials as much as they usually do. But my concern is just when we get to that point of spending more money to put things on the ballot, that's my only true concern here. So that's all I have.
Are you able to distill your comments into a number?
Negative. That number is determined by the size of the ballot space that they would take up.
Okay.
If I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Commissioner Jay.
Thank you, Chair. I just had a quick comment that popped into my brain while this was working its way around, but I think it's something that's important to consider is the impact that on turnout that each individual amendment will have. Individual people throughout this county will be excited by these individual ideas and would be more likely to vote. You know, some people might be really excited about term limits and they might have avoided voting otherwise, but they're going to show up just to vote for that. Or YIMBY folks might vote for my housing bill or housing proposal. There could be all kinds of people that just simply turn out just because of each individual amendments. And I think it'd be wrong for us to deny this opportunity for different constituencies to turn out and be excited about what's on the ballot that this commission has produced. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. Any other comments before we close this discussion? Okay, well, thank you. Commissioners, that concludes our new business. Our last agenda item is good of the order. And Commissioner Garber has a comment. I've also asked her to address the topic.
I actually have a few comments. I wanted to let you all know, we had talked about me going to all the individual town halls. I will not be attending the ones this weekend. I'm having to be out of town, but Chair Erickson will probably be attending those. And then I wanted to let you know that I will be speaking on my behalf only to Indivisible Greater Vancouver, the Salmon Creek branch, on June 9th. And so I wanted, as an executive committee member, be transparent to you all and let you know they have asked me, but they want my perspectives. And I will try my best for neutrality, but we have the ability to offer our perspectives when we're speaking by ourselves. But I will be very conscientious of the work we've done and keep it neutral. And then the third item is something to start thinking about are the pro and con statements that we're going to be putting in the voters pamphlet. We need to think, will this be members of our commission? Will we select 3 people to write the pro statement? Are we going to allow commission members who are absolutely against the statement to write the statement against? Or are we going to reach out for citizens interested in it? So it's something we need to think about. Without giving you my personal opinion, we need to kind of work on that, kind of formulate how you feel about us as a commission putting those statements against. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Secretary Garber. Since in the past, members of the commission who have brought to our attention speaking engagements, the date of those speaking engagements has been mentioned. When will you be speaking?
June 9th.
Okay, thank you. Regarding the pro and con statements, we have received some interest from members of the public who want to participate in that. So this is a discussion that we're going to need to have as to whether or not, for example, pro statements will be prepared by the committees. Will we have con statements prepared by members of the commission, or will we let the public participate? That is a discussion that we'll probably need to be having soon as well. I think I saw a hand over here. Commissioner Hamblick, please.
Just letting y'all know that I'll be missing the next 2 Wednesdays. I will be out of the country.
Thank you. Are there any other items for good of the order? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Klein.
Second, Jake.
Okay, moved and seconded to adjourn. Are there any opposed? Seeing none, we are adjourned.